So we're down here in front of the Kodokan. It's the memorial of the Kodokan Sensei. And like I said in earlier videos, I don't know how much of these will be uploaded or in what order they'll be uploaded, but I've been thinking a lot about martial arts, obviously, and discipleship. So I went to a Bible study here Wednesday night, and there was a woman there who I met who had a lot of questions. She was asking a lot of questions, and I leaned over, and my friend Kimiko said she has many questions. She's not a Christian. So it was really cool. The pastor was answering questions and like talking to her, but like talking specifically to her. And there was a kind of a sense of urgency as the questions progressed. And what it ended up being was she was at a crossroads where she believed Christianity was true and she knew that she should become a Christian, but she still had some lingering doubts and she still had a lot of questions like, well, what about hypocrites? What about people who claim to be Christian but then their lives don't show it? And so, we talked to her about different aspects of the faith and concepts of, I was thinking of Jesus telling the parable where there's four soils, and some people receive the word eagerly, and they spring up overnight, but then the soil quality is not good, and so the weeds come and choke out their new life, or they are among rocky places, so the seed never really has a chance to grow, or the soil is shallow, and so the seed grows fast, but then as soon as the sun comes, it dries it up and the plants die. But then some of the seed falls in good soil, and when it falls in good soil, it takes hold and it continues to grow. And so the idea of Jesus' parable was the type of soil you are is going to determine the type of fruit that you bear. And I always think about that because what it lets us know is it doesn't matter necessarily if you become a Christian. Like you as Southern Baptist friends would say, you get saved. That is not really important if you don't continue, if the seed doesn't bear fruit. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people get saved, they get excited, or they get convicted, or they have a moment of emotional, I need to, I believe the gospel and I accept it. But then what's missing is commitment. And because of the full commitment not being there, when trouble comes, when persecution comes, when hardship comes, when it doesn't feel like it's all that it was, they were led to believe, then they get frustrated and they walk away from the faith. And there's so many similarities I see with martial arts. It's exciting when somebody puts on a white belt and walks into a dojo for the first time. They start on the journey of martial arts. That's something to celebrate, because most people don't. Most people never take that first step onto the mats. But putting on the white belt and stepping onto the mats is not, it's something to celebrate in one sense, but it's not something to celebrate in the ultimate sense, because it's the beginning of the journey. Because most people who step onto the mats, who put on the white belt, they don't ever put on the black belt, because they don't have the commitment. They don't stay long enough. They don't stay on the path. They don't have discipleship. And that's what's called for, whether it's in martial arts or whether it's in our walk with the Lord, is commitment. Discipleship is following the master. A lot of people can say, Lord, Lord, and even do things in Jesus' name. But Jesus says on that day, I'll say to them, I never knew you. So the concept of perseverance is one, theologically, that I think it's downplayed in evangelistic fervor. People, especially in the West, get so excited about how many people got saved, how many people got baptized at your church or your event or your crusade or your rally or your conference or whatever else. How many got saved? How many got saved? And I always go, I don't know how many. You don't know how many got saved. If 5,000 people give their life to Christ, check back in 5 years. Check back in 10 years. Check back in 20 years. How many of them are still walking as disciples? That is that's the proof of the discipleship. And it's like with martial arts. How many people eagerly start martial arts? Tons of people start it, and a lot of people get their yellow belt. In jiu-jitsu, we'd say get your blue belt. And then what do? Jiu-jitsu guys, what do they do when they get their blue belt? They quit. It's really easy because they think, oh, I've accomplished something, and then they quit. and they never make it to black belt. So I see a lot of similarities to that with salvation. Salvation is a present tense, I am saved, but also there's a future tense to it, I will be saved, and it requires perseverance. And as much as some people may not like to hear that theologically, they may think that's a work. No, it's biblical. Perseverance is biblical. Now, of course, the Spirit animates it. It's not our own striving, unlike jujitsu or judo. It's your own work and your own striving that gets you from white belt to black belt. In spirituality, it's impossible. Our own striving can't ever get us to anything. But our commitment to being disciples and our willingness to allow the Holy Spirit to come and to teach us, to guide us, to it's like a sensei holding your hand, showing you the way to grab or the way to throw or placing your foot in the right position. That's what the Holy Spirit does biblically, theologically, spiritually, ethically for God's people who are committed and surrendered, who've done more than just put on the white belt, but they are coming to class, so to speak. So I think about that on this trip a lot. There's a lot of people who start the Christian training and never finish. They walk away. It gets too tired. It gets too hard, too difficult, and so they say it's not worth it, and they walk away. Just like with judo, or jiu-jitsu, karate, taekwondo, any other martial art, it's the same thing. People start, they get excited, they learn a little bit, maybe it changes something of their life, but ultimately they never finish the journey, and it's sad. So anyway, I'd love to see the church put more emphasis on the journey of discipleship rather than the moment of salvation. I think that would go a long way in creating disciples, like actual lifelong disciples of Jesus. Gakusei, I think that's the word for student, of the true sensei, sensei, the great sensei, which is Jesus. So that's what we try to do. That's what we try to encourage at Disciple Dojo. All right. I don't know if any of this will make it online or not, but I'm just kind of rambling with my thoughts here in front of Dr. Jigoro Kano when in Japan.